Why did India's empires from the Indus Valley and Mauryas and the Guptas and Mauryas to the Guptas and Cholas and Mughals collapse without the civilizational free fall seen in Rome, the Maya lowlands, or the late Bronze Age world? Every elsewhere, cities, scripts, and economies vanished. In India, culture, trade, and regional power often thrived. Will today's global empires fall like their ancient counterparts, leaving behind little? And if they do, will India emerge again with its core intact while others fade? Okay, before I address the question, I would not consider the Mughal Empire to be an Indian empire, civilizationally or culturally. Yeah, of course, it was based in India. It was based out of Delhi for quite some time. But it was, like the Chinese say, the Chinese have a term for this sort of empire, a conquest dynasty. It's a bunch of foreigners who have come and occupied the land, conquered the land, and they create an empire. So the Yuan dynasty is a classic example of a conquest dynasty. The Yuan dynasty, its founder is considered to be Shri Chinggis Khan. And the first proper emperor out of China was Shri Kublai Khan. So that's the Yuan dynasty. It was Mongols ruling over China out of Beijing. That's a conquest dynasty, not a Chinese dynasty per se. Not really Chinese dynasty, ethnically. Eventually, culturally they became Chinese slowly. So when it comes to the Mughal Empire, it was not really an Indian dynasty. I don't see it as an Indian dynasty culturally or civilizationally at all. But anyhow, the bigger point is what you're making over here. So we've had empires and various kingdoms and states that have come and gone, risen and fallen in India. Another example of a conquest dynasty is in India is the Kushan dynasty, the Kushan Empire. But they became thoroughly Indianized, and ethnically they were not that different from from Indians. Anyhow, uh, so yeah, we've had the rise and fall of dynasties in India and empires. The Mauryan Empire, which was a pan-India, pan-subcontinent empire, eventually declined and fell. It fell, and the successor state was the Shunga Empire. And you've had the rise and fall of the Kushan Empire, uh, which spread Indian culture far and wide, right? Far and wide. Then you had the Gupta Empire, the Chola Empire, and so many empires. They came and fell, they came and went, they came and went. Uh, but you did not see any civilizational free fall in India. The culture and the civilization persisted and actually even thrived, kept on thriving, right? That's what happened. There are times when the culture doesn't do very well, civilization is not doing that great because there's the absence of a great power that supports the culture, but that's how it is. Now, when it comes to the Mayans, the Maya lowlands, etc. See, the Mayan culture, it begins in the first half of the first millennium AD. Around 200, 300 AD, that's where you have the emergence of the Maya city states and all that. And then Maya culture really thrives. That's what happened. And it saw a downfall around 700 to 900 AD or something like that. Around that time, you can look up the exact dates. Okay, I don't memorize dates, but it's around that time. And the Maya Empire, the Maya region, is essentially the Yucatan plus region of Mexico. Let's quickly Google it since we have a map. Let's take advantage of the map. So we're talking about this part of Mexico. Okay, the Yucatan region, and larger than Yucatan, but overall centered around Yucatan. That's where you had the Maya culture, civilization, and that declined, and then eventually you have the Triple Alliance, the Aztec Empire, like they call it, which came in its place in the same region. But the Maya culture and civilization never really vanished. Even today, you have people who speak Mayan derived languages and practice what you could call Mayan culture. So, despite the fall of the Mayan Empire, essentially, Mayan culture or civilization did not disappear entirely. Today, it's more or less kind of semi extinct. It's because of the European influence. See, Hernan Cortes, the Spanish conquistador, destroyed destroyed the Triple Alliance Empire, the Aztec Empire. I think he reached Mexico in 1519 or something, and he unleashed horrific devastation on the people and the culture. So the Mayan Empire, the culture, it declined because of that. You have Rome. Yeah, Rome was destroyed by Christianity, by the way. True fact. Late Bronze Age world, we still There's still a lot of dispute about what really happened. Was it climate change? Was it some environmental catastrophes, tsunamis, earthquakes? What was it that destroyed the late Bronze Age world in the Eastern Mediterranean region, and what they call the Fertile Crescent, the Mesopotamian region, and so on? There's still big questions about it. How did so many empires fall and disappear entirely, vanish without a trace? But in India, empires have come and gone, but our culture, our civilization has remained intact. What happened? Why is it so? Because, see, today it's not the case really. Today I'm speaking a foreign language. I'm more comfortable in a foreign language. I'm wearing foreign clothes. I read books that are in a foreign language. Our education system is a foreign education system. Our our so-called constitution is entirely foreign. Our system of governance is foreign. Our education system is foreign. Everything is foreign here today. That all the institutions are foreign. Do you really see us as a civilization today? We are falling. We're falling. You see what's happened? Something changed. We were conquered by foreign cultures, and they took systematic steps to break us culturally and civilizationally, and it's succeeding. After 1947, it is the Indian government that has done that, continued that, and taken it forward. Various successive Indian governments, right? um, so why did that not happen before the past, let's say, 250, 300 years, let's say 500 years? Why did it not happen? Because whichever kingdoms and empires came and went in India, they were all offspring of the same civilization. So you have the Maurya Empire that comes and rises and reaches its pinnacle, then eventually declines and falls. It is replaced by the Shunga Empire. Same culture, same civilization. They did not launch any attack or assault on our civilization. They strengthened it in their own way, maybe a different way, but they strengthened it. So the focus was no longer on Bodh Dharma; it was on what we now call Hinduism, Hindu Dharma, right? In the Pushyamitra Shunga Empire. During the Maurya Empire, the focus, at least during Ashok's time, was more on Bodh Dharma. And one of his descendants focused on Jaina Dharma, of course. Yeah, we know that. Um, then you have the Gupta Empire that comes, the Kushan Empire. The Kushan Empire also propagated our culture and civilization, not just in India, all across the world, as far as possible, at least, especially eastwards, towards China. It is Shri Kanishka and his descendants who started propagating Indian culture eastwards all the way to China. It's Kanishka who started the process. So he spread our culture far and wide. He did more than anybody else to spread our culture beyond our shores, beyond our natural boundaries. Then you had the Gupta Empire. Once again, a beautiful efflorescence of the same culture and civilization in a different shape and form. So, and then you have the Cholas who took our culture all the way to all the way as far east as the Philippines, and so on and so on. So it's always been the same civilization that has given rise to multiple empires. So the collapse of an empire did not destroy our culture. It was too deep rooted to destroy. Our culture is 60, 70,000 years old. Our culture is the continuation of the culture of the people who came with the last out of Africa migration about 70 or whatever thousand years ago. The population that we have in India is a descendant of that ancient population. And we have always had cultural continuity. We know the cultural continuity goes back at least 10,000 years. It may go back 50, 60, 70,000 years, possibly. We don't know. So, because our culture and civilization is so deep rooted, it's always been resilient. It's withstood all these, you know, ups and downs. When it comes to other cultures, well, they've been destroyed. So, Rome had its own polytheistic culture, which was part of the same greater Indo-European culture and religion, and it was destroyed by Christianity. So Christianity sought to destroy, to uproot the native culture and religion and replace it with Christianity. And that's what happened. So that's why civilization was destroyed in Rome. Same in Greece. Same everywhere in Europe. When it comes to the Americas, genocide, cultural and endemic genocide. So, and the same was attempted in the past 1,000 years in India. And now we are seeing it coming, bearing fruit, because now we are increasingly deracinated. Our youth don't even know what their culture is. They don't see any connection with their culture. It's becoming more and more apparent today. So now it is succeeding in India. Maybe in 100 years, the same thing will have happened in India. Maybe our descendants will be practicing a whole different set of religions. It's very possible if we are not careful about this.